Good morning. Barry Bryson here. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. We're continuing our study entitled Matriarchs, and we're talking about the women that we come to know in the book of Genesis. And we're studying the life of Rachel now. When we were together last time, Rachel meets Jacob. Jacob falls in love with Rachel. I didn't mention yesterday that the word in the Greek translation that the rabbis made in the 3rd century BC of the book of Genesis, in verse 18 of chapter 29, they use the word agape for only the second time in the Bible. The first is the love that Abraham has for Isaac. They have many words to choose from. They've used the word love before, but agape, this is only the second time. They use this word sparingly, judiciously in the Old Testament, but it's used here. Jacob agape Rachel, and so Jacob really does love Rachel. We talked about Laban's treachery. We've talked about it before, and today we want to talk about her infertility. And anyway, we are going to look at chapter 30, beginning with verse 1, and we're going to read through verse 8. Now, when Rachel saw that she bore no children, she became jealous of her sister and said to Jacob, "Give me children, or else I die." And Jacob's anger burned against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" And he said, and she said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go into her, that she may bear on my knees, that through her I too may have children." So she gave him her maid Bilhah as a wife. Jacob went in to her, and Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. And Rachel said, "God has vindicated me, therefore, and indeed has heard my voice, and has given me a son." Therefore she named him Dan. And Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again, and bore a second son. And Rachel said, "With mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and I indeed have prevailed." And she named him Naphtali. So it seems to me that the rivalry, which goes beyond normal sibling rivalry, the real rivalry between these two sisters and the bad blood between them, happens when they become wives in the same household. Because polygamy never, ever works. Never works. We didn't talk last time about the fact that, we talked about it when we talked about Leah, though, that that each woman was given as a wedding present by their father an enslaved woman to be their maid, their servant, their particular servant, to take care of them, to help them with their family as they have children and things. And Leah, as we mentioned before, in fairly quick succession, well, over the course of a few years, but she has 4 sons. And so he has 4 sons with Leah, but Rachel is unable to have children. Much like Sarah before her, also an extremely stunningly beautiful woman of her age, she is infertile, and Rachel is upset about this because of her jealousy with her sister. This isn't a Sarah. Sarah was concerned about the covenant. This is a Hannah and Peninnah thing later on in the book of Samuel. This is a woman who is valuing herself by her ability to produce sons and comparing herself with her sister, and being angry that she's losing the baby race with her sister and taking it out on other people. And so she says to Jacob, "Give me children or else I die," like it's his fault. He's already fathered sons, 4 sons, perhaps, already fathered them. The issue is not with him. And he says that, and he's angry with Rachel. He loves her, but he's angry with her. "You can't blame me for this. The person you're angry with is God. God's the one who decides which children get to be born or not." And so she resorts to the same um, answer, the same possibility um, that that Sarah has with Hagar, something that was done in their day. She has this option: um, a married woman of means who had an enslaved person, an enslaved woman in her household that was hers, could give her to the husband and bear children that would be then her children. That's not exactly what happens. But and she said, but let me mention this though. She says that she'll deliver children on my knee. It refers to what we know about birthing practices of the ancient Near East in the patriarchal age and even into the Mosaic age, that women would have birthing stools, and then the, the midwife would then be there behind and beneath the birthing stool to help the child be born and to receive the child. It's a different posture than babies are. We're used to babies being born in, but that she's making reference to that, and she's going to be the nurse. She's going to be the midwife, and it reminds us of something that is said in the book of Ruth. You know, the baby is on your knees, and so she gives Bilhah. Bilhah is not called a maid; she's called a wife, and she ends up having two sons, and so Rachel thinks, okay, I'm beloved, and now I have multiple sons, and I'm winning over my sister. I've wrestled with my sister and prevailed, but then, Leah gives him Zilpah, her maid, her enslaved woman, and she has sons as well, and so um, um, Rachel is no longer happy about this and wants to do something about it, which we'll talk about next time. So we have people, there are three people in this story that seem to not have agency, two that don't have it at all, and one that will not exercise agency. The two who don't have agency at all are Bilhah and Zilpah. The person who will not exercise agency is Jacob, because one wife says, here, sleep with my maid. And he says, okay. And then the other wife says, here, sleep with my maid. And he says, okay. There's no reason for him to sleep with with Zilpah, because he already has four children. But his wife, Leah, the one that he loves less, that he doesn't really love, tells him to do it, and he does it anyway. And if we ever doubt that he's a man without agency, but in the ongoing rivalry between these two women, we'll read what happens next time. We've already talked about it. I probably upset you with the way I described it, but we're going to look at it again. Anyway, we'll talk about that next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.